Imagine waking up and feeling like your entire body is being put through a paper shredder. Our poor heroine opens her eyes, wondering if she's actually survived a cliff diving accident. She's being cradled by a total hunk who's begging her to hold on, despite the literal blood dripping from her mouth. Our girl's first thought is, wow, these pecs are firm. But the romantic moment is ruined when a gorgeous, icy lady appears, looking like she'd rather dropkick our nugget than help her. As the world fades to black, the names start ringing a bell. Wait a minute, Jai Fiken A Yao. It hits her like a lightning bolt. She's been reincarnated into a novel. A glitchy system pops up to confirm her worst nightmare. She's now a supporting character named Shen Wanqing. Our heroine is just trying to process her new life, but the system is already judging her. This sassy AI tells her she's not even worthy of the villainous role yet. Her mission, stop the main leads from breaking up and turn this tragedy into a sweet romance. She stares at the screen in disbelief. Her reaction, a total mood, I quits. See, this book isn't some fluffy bedtime story. It's a chaotic mess of demon hunting and betrayal. It's a cliché harem novel where the male lead collects girls like Pokemon cards. The original heroine ends up sacrificing herself in a tragic, bloody mess. And our girl Shen Wanqing, she was the annoying little sister character who caused nothing but trouble. She eventually got possessed and was killed by the very man she loved. Basically, it's a giant game over waiting to happen. The system wants her to be a matchmaker, but our girl is busy having a mental breakdown. She's stuck in a body everyone hates with a death flag over her head. Then the system drops a side quest. She has to stop the ultimate villain, Zai Wuyan, from massacring the world. This guy is a literal demon lord who breathes murder. One look at his terrifying face and she's ready to check out early. Just let me die now and save us both the trouble. She's officially done with this mission before it even starts. But the male lead, Jai Fiken, isn't letting her go that easily. He's begging the icy female lead for a sacred pill to save our girl. The female lead is not having it, reminding him that the medicine is for their sect only. She's already feeling the sting of jealousy seeing him hold another one. Warning bells start screaming. The leads are about to break up, and if they do, our heroine is toast. Thinking fast, our girl jumps out of his arms to prove she's fine. She's wobbly, but she's gotta save the plot. She plays the rebellious card to stop the leads from fighting. Stay away from me, she shrieks, putting on a world-class performance. She realizes she has to act like a selfless saint to keep them together. She forces out some crocodile tears, claiming she's glad to be the demon's target if it saves others. Look at that face, she deserves an Oscar for this manipulation. She even offers to be the bait for the next monster attack. Jai Fiken is horrified, which is exactly what she wanted. She's playing him like a fiddle, acting like the most tragic martyr ever. The icy female lead is finally moved by her bravery and agrees to give up the medicine. Our girl is internally screaming with joy. I won this round, she cheers, feeling like a genius. But just as she thinks she's safe, her body decides to betray her. She vomits a literal fountain of blood and things go south fast. After 2 days of recovery, she's feeling much better thanks to the magic pills. She's survived the blood-spitting incident, but the real challenge is just beginning. The female lead, Feng Yaoqing, comes to visit, and our girl tries to be the ultimate wingwoman. She tries to compliment the heroine's dress, but it backfires immediately. Apparently, the original Shen Wanqing was a total savage who used to roast the heroine's fashion sense. Our girl is literally crushed by the weight of her own bad reputation. She tries to ship the leads together again, but the heroine is suspicious of this sudden personality flip. Our girl is fuming. The original owner really left her with a dumpster fire of a life. As the heroine leaves, our girl realizes she needs a new plan. She eavesdrops on the guards, and here's the worst news possible. If the story stays on track, he'll infiltrate the group and kill everyone later. The future looks like a bloodbath. Our girl decides she's had enough of being a victim. She's going to find the injured villain and end him right now. She grabs a dagger, ready to nip this problem in the butt. It's a moonless night, perfect for a little secret assassination. She's searching the dark forest, hoping her gacha luck is better than usual. She's exhausted and ready to give up, when she sits down and feels something slippery. She looks down, her heart stopping in her chest. There he is, the terrifying demon king, bleeding out on the grass. This is it, her chance to be a hero. She hovers over him, trying to find the perfect spot to stab. She's overthinking the angle like a total amateur. She gets into position, trying to be as quiet as possible. She even worries about the blood spray ruining her outfit. She raises the dagger, heart pounding against her ribs. Suddenly, his eyes snap open. He's awake and he looks absolutely murderous. Our girl is frozen in absolute horror. The novel said he'd be out for 3 days. This plot armor is a lie. The demonic aura is so thick she can barely breathe. She's caught red-handed in the most obvious murder stance ever. Those glowing red eyes are staring right into her soul. Think fast, Nugget. She blurted out the most ridiculous excuse in history. I was just stabbing an ant for you. She pats her chest, acting like she's his guardian angel. She keeps the act going, offering to get him medical help. To her shock, the Demon King actually smiles and agrees. But there's a tiny problem. Could you get off me first? He asks smoothly. She realizes she's literally straddling the world's most dangerous man. She jumps off, blushing and stammering apologies. But before they can leave, a terrifying sound echoes through the woods. A massive shadow looms over them. It's a vengeful ghost and it's hungry for blood. Our girl tosses her decoy puppet into the fray, hoping it'll buy her just a few seconds of peace. But those puppet strings feel more like a death sentence as she watches the massive, shadowy ghost loom over them. She realizes they can't handle this vengeful spirit, and the decoy won't last long. She quickly tells the handsome but deadly Zai Wuyan that she's going for reinforcements. With a cheeky thumbs up and a promise to come back, she bolts. Internally, though, she's basically planning his funeral and hoping to collect the body later. Zai Wuyan just stares after her, looking like he's already seeing right through her little act. Suddenly, a golden needle streaks through the air with lethal precision. It pierces right through the vengeful spirit, making it scream in agony. As the monster dissolves into nothingness, the real heavy hitters finally show up. It's the legendary Feng Yaoqing, and our girl realizes her timing is absolutely catastrophic. She has to pivot fast, acting like she totally intended to bring help all along. She puts on her best worried sister face and claims she didn't lie about reinforcements. She calls out to Feng Yaoqing, pointing out the injured man. She's laughing on the outside but sweating bullets on the inside. While the forest stays eerily quiet, Feng Yaoqing checks the stranger's pulse. She immediately realizes he's been hit with a nasty heart-locking curse. When asked who could have done such a thing, Zai Wuyan turns into a literal drama king, coughing up blood and looking pathetic. He spins a total lie about saving children from evil cultists just to gain her sympathy. The atmosphere gets heavy as he plays the martyr. Feng Yaoqing is completely hooked, moved by his supposed righteousness. She promises him the full support of the pavilion, falling for his trap hook, line, and sinker. He offers a humble thank you, looking like a saint. Our girl is standing in the back, absolutely floored by his Oscar-worthy acting skills. She gives a mental thumbs up to his villainous talent, but then Feng Yaoqing turns the spotlight on her. She wants to know why our heroine isn't back in her room resting. Thinking fast, our girl claims she was just out, aiding her digestion. She nods frantically, hoping the lie sticks. She then doubles down, calling Zai Wuyan a heroic gentleman to keep the facade going. She even imagines herself as a dedicated nurse who never left his side. She acts like a total martial arts hero, waving off any gratitude with a flourish. Zai Wuyan looks her dead in the eye and promises to repay her kindness in full. That smile, it's pure nightmare fuel. Our girl realizes her assassination attempt was a total flop. Even worse, she's probably moved to the top of his hit list. Under the bright moon, she heads back to the pavilion. She spots Feng Yaoqing and immediately grills her about Zai Wuyan's status. Feng Yaoqing assures her he's out of danger and just needs rest. Our girl tries to play the worried friend role to the max. Feng Yaoqing tells her to relax, confident in her own medical skills. But our girl knows the truth. Villains have cockroach-level vitality that just won't quit. She wants to warn the female lead so badly, but their rocky relationship makes it impossible. As they walk together, she tries to drop subtle hints about how weird it was for him to be in a restricted zone. Feng Yaoqing listens, but she's already been villain-whispered into total submission. She starts praising his self-sacrificing nature all over again. She literally calls him a true hero, and our girl's soul basically leaves her body. She's crying on the inside because this party is absolutely hopeless. She realizes she can't carry these teammates and decides to wait for the male lead to return. While she's stressing out, she notices a small cut on her finger. She figures she must have nicked it during the chaotic fight earlier and heads to bed. The night is still and beautiful, and the pavilion looks peaceful from the outside. Our girl finally drifts off into a deep sleep. She's tucked in tight, blissfully unaware of the danger. But while she's dreaming, a shadow looms over her. It's Zai Wuyan, and he's looking down at her with pure cold malice, whispering that she must die. He reaches out, his hand hovering dangerously close to her throat. He touches her neck, his eyes fixed on her sleeping face. He lingers there, watching her every breath. He scoffs, calling her sleeping face ugly even though he can't seem to look away. He stands over her like a vengeful god. Finally, he slips out of the room as quietly as he entered. The second the door clicks, our girl bolts upright, gasping for air. She's been faking sleep the entire time, holding her breath until her lungs burned. She's absolutely terrified. She nearly sneezed and blew her whole cover. She starts questioning villain logic, who just creeps into a room and stares for hours. She downs some herbal tea to stop her heart from jumping out of her chest. Feeling stuffy, she decides to open the window for some fresh air. She looks out and her heart stops again. He's right there, leaning against the wall with a smug, terrifying grin. Our girl is vibrating with pure fear. She tries to slam the window shut immediately, but he catches it with one hand, looking perfectly relaxed. She tries to play it off, asking if he's out to admire the moon. He just smiles and agrees it's a coincidence. She asks what he's doing out so late after just recovering. He throws her own aiding digestion excuse right back at her. Our girl is desperate to get rid of him before she has a heart attack. She tries to usher him away, saying the night wind is bad for patience. But he's not budging. In fact, he says tea would be absolutely perfect right now. Our girl is screaming internally as she's forced to invite her potential murderer inside. The door creaks open and they stand in the pitch-black room. She tries one last lie, claiming she can't find a fire starter. Zai Wein just gives her a look and snaps his fingers. A flame instantly flickers to life. The room is suddenly bathed in a warm golden glow. He makes himself right at home. He repeats his request for tea, his voice smooth and dangerous. They sit down, but our girl makes sure to keep a very safe distance between them. He brings up her recent injury from a demon, his eyes searching hers. He sips his tea calmly while she sits there like a statue. She just nods, trying to keep her answers short. He starts talking about rumors of the demon realm breaking their seals. The tension in the room starts to rise as he uses a bit of magic. The atmosphere becomes heavy and suffocating. He leans in close, his face just inches from hers. His eyes glow with an otherworldly intensity. He whispers that as long as the demon lord lives, there will never be peace, and asks her if she agrees. The screen fades to black as she's left staring into the eyes of the very monster he's describing. He waits for her answer, but the silence is louder than any words. Our girl is stuck in a game of cat and mouse where the cat has magic and zero mercy. Our poor heroine is stuck in a mental loop, trying to figure out how to answer this impossible question without losing her head. If she says yes, the villain might just end her right here, but if she says no, she'll look like a total suck-up. Honestly, she decides to just let it all go to hell because no matter what she chooses, death feels inevitable. She hits him with the ultimate self-burn, claiming she's too weak to even light a lantern, and he actually has the audacity to agree. Getting called useless is a massive blow to her ego, but hey, a bruised ego is way better than being a corpse. Then the psycho asks how she thinks the demon lord will die, and her brain officially short-circuits. Our girl is losing it because the male lead thinks this guy is a saint while the villain is literally planning his own funeral. She decides to just pivot to aggressive positivity and assumes he's looking for some encouragement. She delivers a sparkling speech about how justice always prevails, hoping his villainous heart doesn't explode from the cringe. He stares at her for a long, silent moment that feels like an eternity. And then he actually starts laughing. It's a full-on maniacal cackle that has her trembling in her boots. He leans in close and she's certain this is the end. But instead, he tells her he won't hold her up any longer and lets her go. He gives her a casual pat on the shoulder and walks away, leaving her completely baffled. He just leaves like he didn't just spend the last hour psychologically torturing her. She stands there frozen, wondering if he really just came over for tea and a few weird questions. As long as he doesn't pull this stunt every night, she can live with it. Finally, she can get some sleep after surviving another chaotic encounter. The next morning, the sun is shining and things are looking up for the sect. Our girl's favorite brother, Jai Faikin, is finally back from his mission. Yeokian rushes into his arms, relieved that her protector has returned. He asks if she missed him, and the vibes are sweet enough to give you cavities. She definitely did, especially with a big bad villain lurking around. She's just happy she doesn't have to deal with the nighttime terror anymore. Jai Faikin lectures her for being reckless, but our girl is dying to warn him about the guest in the back mountains. Every time she tries to bring up the villain, he cuts her off with a finger to the face. He's way too busy asking about his favorite girl, Anne, to listen to anything important. She tries again, but he's totally obsessed with whether Anne mentioned him or not. He's sulking because he thinks he hurt Anne's feelings, while our girl is literally vibrating with rage. She has to take a massive deep breath before she loses her mind on him. She finally forces him to listen to the fact that their guest is cursed and super suspicious. And he interrupts again just to praise Anne for being a healer, completely missing the point. He's ready to run off and find his crush, leaving the dangerous villain behind. Our girl is officially dead inside from the sheer stupidity of the male lead. She screams for him to stop and finally lays out her theory that they've let a wolf into the house. He finally gets the message and realizes he might have put everyone in danger. He promises to investigate, which is all she wanted in the first place. He looks all serious and cool now, like a proper protagonist. She watches him walk away, feeling like she's finally secured her future. She skips through the garden, thinking everything is finally under control. Since Jai Faikin is the main lead, he's bound to see through the villain's act, right? She can finally rest easy knowing the big bad is about to get kicked out. But then she spots something through the trees that makes her stop cold. She can't believe her eyes as she peers into the pavilion. The male lead and the villain are sitting together, laughing and playing chess like they're childhood besties. They're literally showering each other with compliments and chivalrous spirits. Our girl is absolutely horrified at this bromance from hell. The villain agrees with a smirk that says he's definitely up to no good. And then the male lead says they should just call each other brothers. She's screaming internally because this was supposed to be a fight, not a sworn brotherhood. It gets worse when Jai Faikin asks the villain for a massive favor. They're sitting there all cozy, plotting while she watches from the bushes. He actually asks the villain to protect our heroine since he's too busy. She's paralyzed with fear because this is definitely not how the original novel went. Suddenly, the villain's eyes shift right toward her hiding spot. He agrees to protect her with a smile that would make a shark nervous. The male lead is thrilled while our poor girl is literally coughing up blood from stress. He says he's just repaying her kindness, but it sounds like a literal death threat. That dark look in his eyes tells her she's in serious trouble. She tries to stealthily crawl away before he notices her. She's practically eating dirt trying to escape this nightmare. But of course, he's already standing right behind her, looming like a shadow. She jumps nearly out of her skin when he asks where she's going. She's cornered, sweating buckets and trying to think of a lie. He pokes her forehead and calls her out for eavesdropping on their little bromance. She quickly invents a story about eating too many cakes and just happening to admire his heroic chess style. She claims she's just a huge fan of chess, flashing her most innocent smile. He looks at her with total disbelief, clearly not buying the admire part. He asks if she wants to play a game, and she enthusiastically agrees just to stay alive. He leads her back to the table, and the tension is high enough to snap. The dramatic atmosphere is heavy as she prepares for the worst. She sits there trembling, regretting every life choice that led her here. He tells her to sit down and prepare for a game. She tries to play it cool, but her hands are shaking like leaves. She's sweating bullets, realizing she's trapped with the most dangerous man in the world. He stares at the board, waiting for her to make a move. She sits down, looking like she's walking toward her own execution. She finally confesses that she doesn't actually know how to play Go. He surprisingly offers to play whatever version she prefers. She thinks she's found a loophole. If she picks something he doesn't know, she might survive. He challenges her to do her worst, looking far too confident. She proceeds to set up a game of airplane chess using the Go stones. And for the first time, the villain looks genuinely confused. She skips away, convinced she's finally escaped his clutches and can finally breathe easy. But as she makes her grand exit through the garden, a surge of blue spiritual energy ripples through the air right behind her. Our poor heroine is completely oblivious to the danger creeping up on her back. Suddenly, a massive blast of light erupts, nearly knocking her off her feet. She spins around, wondering what on earth that deafening noise was. Her protective talisman is glowing like crazy, warning her that a demon might be attempting an ambush. She looks down and finds a small blue bird lying face down in the dirt, looking a bit crispy. It's radiating an aura that feels suspiciously like the Demon King himself. She picks the little guy up and realizes this isn't just any bird. It's the mystic bird Zai Wuyan's legendary familiar. Back in the day, this thing was a high-ranking subordinate that struck fear into the hearts of all realms. But after years of its master's slumber, it's lost most of its power and shrunk down into this tiny, pathetic form. To our girl, it doesn't look like a legendary beast at all. It just looks like a chubby blue pigeon. The bird is absolutely offended, screaming at her for being a deceitful woman and using magic artifacts to trap it. She's not having any of his attitude, so she promptly ties his beak shut with a string to keep him quiet. She tosses her new pet over her shoulder, deciding she isn't letting this perfect opportunity go to waste. If she can't beat the master, she'll at least mess with the bird to blow off some steam. With a savage glint in her eyes, she heads straight for the one place no bird ever wants to be. The kitchen is prepped, the stove is hot, and the cleaver is sharpened to a deadly edge. She ties the bird up against the door, giving it a friendly heads up about its upcoming transformation into a meal. She leans in with a terrifyingly sweet smile, telling the pigeon that he's about to be stewed. Our girl figures a nice bowl of pigeon soup is the perfect way to win over the female lead, Feng Yaoqing, and build some friendship points. The bird is losing its mind, screaming that it's a divine being and not a snack for humans. She just ignores the drama and calls him a lively little pigeon while prepping the pot. She plops him right onto the cutting board, looking like a total kitchen villain. She slams the knife down with zero hesitation, sending a clear message to the feathery spy. Then she gives him one last choice to think about his life. Does he want to be stewed with scallions or without? Realizing this woman is actually insane, the bird tries to use its remaining spiritual power to break free. It starts glowing with a desperate, crackling purple light. But before it can fly away, a massive explosion of energy rocks the entire room. The impact is so strong it sends a cloud of smoke billowing out of the kitchen. As the smoke clears, the kitchen is a total disaster zone with soup and water everywhere. Our girl is coughing her lungs out, but she's still got a firm, savage grip on that bird. That's when Feng Yaoqing and her companion burst in, wondering why the kitchen just exploded. Thinking fast, she hides the bird behind her back and claims she was just trying to catch a pigeon for Sister Feng's dinner. The bird is fuming in the background, insulted by the pigeon label for the 100th time. But then the atmosphere shifts as Zai Wuyan himself steps into the room, looking as handsome and dangerous as ever. Feng Yaoqing is actually touched, asking if our girl really went through all this chaos just to make a soup for her. Our heroine nervously laughs it off, sweating bullets while the Demon King watches her every move. Feng Yaoqing is so moved by the kindness that she offers to help finish the cooking. The bird realizes it's trapped in a literal hellhole with a bunch of crazy humans. It starts squirming with everything it's got, desperate to escape the pot. In the chaos, it manages to slip through her fingers and fly for its life. It makes a break for the exit, hoping for freedom. But its escape is cut short when it lands perfectly in Zai Wuyan's outstretched hands. It looks up at him with big, watery eyes, begging for a little bit of mercy. Zai Wuyan just stares down at the little creature with a cold, unreadable expression. He walks over to our girl, who is currently dying of embarrassment inside. Feng Yaoqing explains that she caught this pigeon specifically for a friendship soup. Zai Wuyan gives a dark, amused look, clearly knowing exactly what's going on here. He starts petting the bird with a smirk, but his eyes are locked onto our heroine. She tries to explain herself, but her brain is short-circuiting under his gaze. To her horror, he smiles and tells her she should definitely take the bird with her. He hands the poor creature right back to the woman who was just asking about scallions. Our girl realizes this is a total threat. He's basically daring her to try and eat his pet right in front of him. The bird is devastated, realizing its master just sold it out to the enemy for a laugh. It cries, wondering how their legendary bond could be tossed aside so easily. Feng Yaoqing thinks the bird has just taken a liking to Zai Wuyan and finds it adorable. The others agree that such a spirited creature shouldn't be harmed and should be kept as a pet instead. Now everyone is pressuring our girl to just release the poor thing or keep it safe. She looks at the bird with pure regret, wishing she just tossed it into the fire when she had the chance. But Zai Wuyan isn't done playing with her yet. He snaps his fingers, using a bit of magic to mark the bird officially. The little familiar is stunned as the spell takes hold, binding it further. Then, with a sly grin, Zai Wuyan asks if he can be the one to keep it by his side since fate connected them. Our girl realizes she's been played like a fiddle and has no choice but to let him take it. She watches him walk away, absolutely fuming at how he always manages to win. He makes a sudden departure, leaving our girl standing there in the dust. The bird looks back at her with a smug look of victory, promising that she's dead meat later. Our girl is ready to explode, regretting that she didn't turn him into nuggets. But then, Feng Yaoqing calls out to her softly, breaking her out of her rage. She brings up the soup again, showing she actually appreciated the gesture. Suddenly, a notification pops up. She's completed a hidden quest and boosted her relationship with the female lead by 10%. Our girl is stunned, not expecting her chaotic cooking attempt to actually yield a reward. She realizes that despite her cold exterior, Feng Yaoqing is actually a total sweetheart who is easily deceived. She watches them walk away together, feeling a rare moment of peace in this crazy world. But as night falls and the candles are snuffed out in her room, that peace is very short-lived. She gets a sudden chilling sense of déjà vu as the shadows move. She turns around to find Zai Wuyan lounging in her room like he pays the rent. Our poor girl can only scream in frustration as the cycle of chaos begins all over again. This man really has zero boundaries and a lot of free time. Our poor heroine tries to play it cool, but young Master Zai isn't here for tea, he's here for a lesson in Ludo. He claims he wants to refine his soul by understanding the common people, but we all know he just wants to torment our girl. When she tries to make excuses about not having dice, he casually summons them out of thin air like the ultimate flex. She's left staring at his hand, realizing she's totally trapped. She tries one last desperate move, claiming she needs paper and a pen to draw the board. But of course, the Demon King is one step ahead and manifests the entire game set right in front of her. Our girl starts listing off every single piece and snack she can think of, hoping to stall for time. She's dreaming of a mountain of osmanthus cakes and sweet rice balls to make this torture bearable. But one look at his terrifyingly serious face, and she realizes that snacks are definitely not on the menu tonight. She immediately folds, deciding that maybe she doesn't need all that extra stuff after all. Fast forward an hour and it's a total massacre on the board. The Demon King is literally sparkling with victory, while our girl hasn't been able to move a single one of her pieces. She's losing her mind, rolling nothing but ones and wondering if he's using some kind of high-level demonic technique to cheat at a board game. The room is dead silent as the hours tick by and her soul slowly leaves her body. Finally, she hits her limit and tells him to just finish her off because she can't take another minute of this boredom. She face plants onto the table, completely conked out from the sheer mental exhaustion. Zai watches her sleep, genuinely baffled that she can be so peaceful while knowing exactly who he is. He reaches out a hand, perhaps moved by her chaotic energy. But his familiar bird suddenly burst onto the scene, absolutely fuming. The bird is ready to catch these hands, screaming about how she wanted to turn it into pigeon stew. It dives in for a revenge strike, only to be stopped by a literal magic shield. Zai tells the bird to shut it, not wanting her to wake up just yet. He calls the game boring now that she's asleep, while the bird grumbles about how all women are dangerous femme fatales. Suddenly, the bird realizes Zai's spiritual energy is recovering at an insane speed. It shouldn't be returning this fast, and the bird is shook. As our girl slumbers away, Zai remembers the drop of her blood the bird accidentally swallowed earlier. He examines the traces of her power, his expression turning cold and calculated. Something about her blood is reacting strangely with his own energy. He realizes that our ordinary heroine is actually a walking battery of rare spiritual power. The bird realizes it too. She's a gold mine for anyone looking to forge powerful weapons. Zai lets out a dark smirk, realizing our girl is way more special than he ever imagined. The bird suggests she's too dangerous to keep alive, and for a second it looks like he might actually agree. But instead of ending her, he decides it's time to head out. He stands up, his regal robes flowing as he prepares to vanish into the night. The bird is stunned, asking if she's really that important to him. He admits that since her constitution is perfect for nurturing divine swords, she's actually quite useful to him. In her sleep, our girl is having the mother of all nightmares, dreaming of a dark, chained abyss. She sees a pool of golden light surrounded by jagged blades, and a mysterious woman standing at the edge of the void. The woman is weeping, clutching a baby while the world around them goes up in flames. Live on, the woman whispers as the fire consumes everything, and our girl wakes up with a silent scream. She's back in her own bed, sweating bullets and trying to catch her breath. She has no idea how she got from the Ludo table to her room, and that dream felt way too real to be just a fantasy. She wonders if those were actually the original owner's suppressed memories. The novel never mentioned the original host's family, only that she was an orphan who caused trouble for the main leads. It looks like our girl's backstory is a lot more tragic and complicated than the book let on. The next morning, she tries to shake off the gloom with a good stretch. She looks like a total zombie with massive dark circles, thanks to her all-night gaming session with the local demon king. A maid tells her that breakfast is ready in the front hall, so she pulls herself together and heads out. She walks in with a bright smile, ready to greet her friends, but she instantly freezes at the door. Sitting right there at the table, casually sipping tea like he owns the place, is young Master Zai. He looks perfectly refreshed while our girl is barely holding it together. Brother Jai cheerfully invites her to sit down, and she has no choice but to awkwardly shuffle over. She sits as far away from the Demon King as humanly possible, while he gives her a look that says he knows exactly what she's thinking. Jai reaches over to pick a leaf out of her hair, acting all sweet and protective. But our girl notices the female lead, Feng Yaoqing, watching them with a look that could kill. The system blares a warning. Yaoqing's suspicion is skyrocketing, and our girl is one step away from being labeled a villainous homewrecker again. She realizes she has to do something, and fast. In a moment of pure chaotic genius, she slams the table, and everyone jumps. She turns on the charm, giving the Demon King her most dazzling fake smile. She claims she only sat closer because the pigeon on his shoulder is just so incredibly cute. She starts cooing at the bird, pretending it's the most adorable thing she's ever seen. The bird is absolutely disgusted, knowing she's a total fraud. Zai, clearly enjoying the show, offers to let her name the bird since she likes it so much. Our girl is internally screaming because he's totally calling her bluff. She panics and names the majestic ancient spirit bird, Mimi. The bird loses its mind, ready to fight her to the death over such a humiliating name. Feng Yaoqing watches the chaos, her suspicion finally starting to fade. Our girl doubles down, suggesting Lucky or Eggy as backups. Zai just holds the fuming bird, a shadow of a smile on his face as he watches her struggle. The bird is literally crying tears of frustration, calling her a femme fatale for ruining its dignity. But the plan worked. Yaoqing thinks our girl is actually into young Master Zai instead of the male lead. She actually smiles, relieved that the rivalry might finally be over. The system confirms the mission is a success. Trust levels are up, suspicion is down, and our girl lives to see another day. Just when our girl thinks she's got things under control, the system drops a massive bombshell about a new supporting character entering the fray. She's barely had time to process the last chaotic event before a high-pitched voice calls out for Brother Jai. Feng Yaoqing is sweating bullets as she realizes the plot is about to get a whole lot messier. Enter Zheng Zian, the pampered daughter of an elder who clearly didn't get the memo that she's a minor character. She immediately pulls the tomboyish green tea act, pretending our poor heroine doesn't even exist while she clings to the male lead. Our girl is internally screaming at this level of fake energy. Of course, the saintly female lead invites the troublemaker to sit down, unaware that Xian's favorite hobby is stirring up drama. This girl has a history of accidentally tripping up Yaoqing while chasing after Jai Feiken. In the original novel, she fell head over heels for him after he saved her from a ghost, and now she's determined to make that happen. Xian announces she's joining the demon hunt because her daddy said she needs experience, causing our girl to literally choke on her tea. Jai Feiken looks concerned, but Yaoqing is just worried about the plot going off the rails again. She tries to warn the girl about the danger, but Xian just plays the I'm so small and helpless card to ensure the boys protect her. With the female lead's permission, the disaster squad is officially formed. Yaoqing realizes that if she can just stop the hero-saving beauty moment, she can kill this romance flag before it even starts. But then her eyes land on the real powerhouse, the Demon King himself, Zai Wuxiang. If she can get him to help, the ghost won't stand a chance. She turns on the charm, begging him to use his strong cultivation to keep them safe. But the man is a master of deflection, poking her forehead and claiming he's basically a weakling. Yeah, right. As the sun sets on the mountains, the journey begins. The group prepares their carriages for the long trek into demon territory. Xian immediately tries to hijack the male lead's carriage, but Yeoking isn't having it. She lunges forward, grabbing the annoying third wheel and dragging her toward the second carriage instead. She is determined to protect the main couple's privacy, even if she has to kidnap a brat to do it. Xian is absolutely fuming, while Yeoking just gives her a friendship squeeze that's actually a death grip. She literally has to muzzle the girl to keep her from ruining the vibe. The female lead finds the whole thing adorable and sends them on their way together. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere is thick enough to cut with a knife as Yeoking tries to focus on her snacks. Wuxiang's pet bird looks like it's ready to peck her eyes out just for breathing too loud. She tries to play nice, but the pigeon has zero chill. Suddenly, Wuxiang's red eyes lock onto her and the tension shifts from awkward to dangerous. It turns out he doesn't want her to stop eating, he wants a taste for himself. He leans in with a look that would make anyone's heart stop. Our girl is frozen as he gets closer and closer, his gaze practically burning through her. And then he actually takes a bite right from her hand, his eyes never leaving hers. It's a total power move that leaves her completely breathless. After that spicy encounter, Yeoking is left trying to cool down her flaming red cheeks. She's a total blushing mess, wondering why her heart is doing marathons after a simple snack exchange. The carriage suddenly jerks to a halt as Jai Fiken spots trouble on the road ahead. Wuxiang decides to step out to investigate, and Xian sees it as her chance to escape. But Yeoking is like a hawk, grabbing her arm and insisting it's way too dangerous for a lady. She's basically holding Xian hostage in the name of plot safety. Jai Fiken agrees, leaving the two girls alone in the cramped space. Xian immediately drops the act and demands to know if Yeoking is just jealous of her and brother Jai. She accuses our girl of being a fake victim who's sabotaging her sister's love life. The finger-pointing is intense, but Yeoking just rolls her eyes. She flat-out tells her she has zero interest in the male lead. Xian doesn't buy it for a second and threatens to tell the female lead the truth. Panicked and needing a cover story, Yeoking blabs that she actually likes someone else. Xian's ears perk up instantly, demanding to know who. Our girl realizes she's backed into a corner and hasn't exactly met many eligible bachelors lately. Her brain starts spinning, looking for a safe scapegoat. She settles on the one person she thinks is safely out of earshot. I like Zai Wuxiang, she shouts, thinking she's a genius for picking a side character. But then a dark shadow looms over her as a smooth voice asks, "Oh, really?" She turns around to find the Demon King himself leaning in, looking way too amused. He's definitely heard every single word and is planning to enjoy her stuff. Yeoking tries to play it off as a joke, claiming her words shouldn't be taken seriously because she's just a young girl. But he's not letting her off the hook, hovering close enough for her to feel the heat. He points out that at 18, she's the perfect age to be looking for a husband. Xian is absolutely living for this drama, backing him up just to see Yeoking squirm. Our girl is ready to explode, wishing Xian would just choke on a watermelon slice. She watches him walk away with a smirk that says he knows exactly what he's doing to her. She's left as a pile of blushing mush, wondering how her life became a romantic comedy from hell. Even Xian has to admit the tea is absolutely top tier. As the carriage rattles on, the piece is short-lived. Wuxiang scoots over, trapping her against the wall with that predatory gaze. He looks her dead in the eye and asks if there's anything else she wants to confess. Our girl is officially in a bind, sweating bullets while this beautiful menace looks on with a smug grin. She takes a deep breath, deciding to go all in, and announces to the world that she absolutely adores Master Zai. The silence that follows is deafening, and she starts wondering if her confession actually worked or if she just signed her own death warrant. She waits for a reaction, but he just stares at her with those soul-piercing eyes, making her wonder if he's actually mesmerized or just plotting her demise. Our poor heroine realizes she's dealing with a villain who never plays by the rules, and the fear that he might actually agree just to torment her starts to set in. She panics and begs him to think it over, reminding him that this concerns their entire future, basically doing a complete 180. He looks down with that cold, detached expression, before delivering the most beautiful words she's ever heard, a flat-out refusal. She's literally glowing with relief, thrilled that the villain is actually being understanding for once. While she stuffs her face with snacks to calm her nerves, he just watches her, thinking about how easily she gets worked up over a little teasing. Miss Shen offers to keep this embarrassing little secret, but our girl is already over the drama. She just gives a shaky thanks, wanting to move on from this chaotic encounter. Finally, they arrive at their destination and it looks peaceful enough. But the peace doesn't last long as a frantic messenger comes sprinting in. The news is already spreading like wildfire. Suddenly, the whole town is whispering about how a proper young lady like her would dare to propose to a man. The male lead, Jai Fiken, looks absolutely livid, demanding to know who taught her such scandalous behavior. Our girl is completely lost. Forced marriage? Who said anything about a forced marriage? She realizes that gossip in this world travels faster than a cultivation sword, and the version of events is getting more ridiculous by the second. A few days pass, and the vibe at the inn is getting heavy. Wanqing realizes that her presence has triggered a butterfly effect, changing the timeline she knew. In the original novels, the male lead's drama delayed the demon hunt. But now everything is happening way earlier. The body count is rising, and the painted skin demon is clearly out for blood. The group gathers to strategize, knowing they can't just sit back while innocent people die. They discuss using Wanqing as bait, since she still has a wisp of demon aura on her. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in her head. Oh, she's got it. She looks at the protective artifact on her wrist and realizes it's been working too well. It's completely suppressing the demon aura, which is why the monster hasn't attacked her yet. That means the demon is going to go after the next best target, her friend Zhang Zioyan. The system hits her with a massive danger alert, forcing her to act before the plot derails any further. She explains the situation to Zai Wuxiang, realizing the demon is likely hiding because it can't sense her. Without hesitation, she slides off the protective bracelet, choosing to put herself back in the crosshairs. Her friends are worried, knowing how dangerous it is to be unprotected. But our girl just flashes a confident smile, trusting they'll have her back. Even the villain seems intrigued by her sudden bravado. He watches her closely, his expression unreadable as the trap is set. Night falls on the inn, and everything seems perfectly normal at first glance. Jai Feiken is calmly drinking his tea, but something feels off. He asks where Zai Wuxiang is, only to be told he's resting upstairs due to curse. Our girl isn't buying it. She knows when a villain is unwell, he's usually up to something shady. Zioyan looks around the room, noting that despite the crowd, it's eerily quiet. There isn't even the sound of a bowl clinking. Feng Yaoqing tells her to just eat, but her eyes are cold and vacant. Everyone at the table is moving like a programmed robot, eating without a word. Wanqing's gaze drops to the sword on the table, sensing the tension in the air. Usually the main leads are all lovey-dovey, but now they're acting like complete strangers. It's like they're deliberately pretending everything is fine, which is the biggest red flag ever. She looks around and realizes no one in the entire inn is even glancing their way. Horror strikes as she realizes the truth. These aren't people, they're just paper cutouts in human skin. Upstairs, the villain finally opens his eyes, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Downstairs, a waiter approaches with a jar of wine, his movements stiff. He gets closer and closer to the table, leaning in to pour the drink. Wanqing suddenly screams for him to stop. She tries to stall for time, ordering more dishes just to see his reaction. As he turns, she prepares her move. She lunges forward, striking him with everything she's got. But as the blade hits, there's no blood, just a hollow tear in the skin. Jai Feiken roars for everyone to step back as the illusion shatters. He draws his blade, ready for a bloodbath. The waiter's face begins to peel away, revealing the dark void beneath. Every single guest in the room stands up, their faces melting into terrifying masks. Wanqing realizes they didn't trap the demon, they walked straight into its nest. There isn't a single living soul left in the inn. Everyone has already been slaughtered and replaced. Our girl realizes with a shudder that the plot hasn't just gone off track, it's completely broken. The battle turns into absolute chaos as the team clashes with the skin demons. Our girl knows they need to end this fast before things get even messier. Wanqing looks on with a grim expression, her mind racing as she searches for the demon lord. Suddenly, a door is practically ripped off its hinges. While everyone else is sweating, Zai Wuxiang is just chilling with an apple like the savage he is. One look from those glowing red eyes is enough to make any demon regret existing. The monsters are absolutely terrified of his aura as he stares them down. He barely lifts a finger, watching the chaos from the balcony with total indifference. Jai Feiken and Feng Yaoqing are holding their own, but Zai views them as nothing more than extra baggage. Our heroine realizes Miss Zheng is just going to be a distraction, so she delivers a swift neck chop to knock her out. She catches the poor girl and hilariously stuffs her under a table to keep her out of the crossfire. Zai's bird spirit is begging him to help and earn some trust, but he just gives a big yawn. He's way too lazy to jump in until the very last second. But then a demonic hand lunges for our girl. She panics, realizing she forgot her protective artifact. Just as the demon is about to strike, Zai's eyes flare with a deadly light. In a flash of blinding energy, Zai swoops in and catches our heroine in a classic romance novel pose. The proximity is enough to make anyone swoon. Even though he claimed to be tired, he incinerates the demon in a heartbeat. Feng Yaoqing can't help but look suspicious of this simple demon slayer's insane power. Jai Feiken finishes off the rest with his talismans, but the bird warns Zai that he's showing off too much. Our girl is touched that the demon lord actually saved her. But then Zai starts coughing up blood. He collapses right into her arms, his hand covered in crimson. They rush him to a guest room, while the bodies of the demons are cleared away. Feng Yaoqing reveals that it's the Heartlock curse acting up. Apparently, anytime he uses his power, he suffers a brutal backlash. Our heroine feels a pang of guilt, as the others praise Zai's noble sacrifice. Jai Feiken blames himself for the oversight, but they manage to suppress the curse for now. Our girl isn't fully buying the drama though. Zai shouldn't be this fragile. She insists on being the one to nurse him back to health. Once they are alone, the bird spirit starts wailing about its poor master. Zai's eye twitches, proving he's totally faking the severity for attention. Our girl realizes he's just playing the hero to manipulate everyone. She brings him some medicine, but he keeps his mouth shut tight, playing the unconscious card. Since he won't cooperate, she takes a sip herself. The bird is absolutely losing it, but our heroine goes in for a mouth-to-mouth delivery. Suddenly, Zai's hand shoots out and grabs her waist. He pins her down with a smoldering look. She calls him out for being a drama king, remembering how he used these same tricks in the original novel to gain sympathy. When she tries to get up, he pulls her right back. His gaze is intense as he asks if she really thinks his patience is infinite. Zai Wuyan gives her a cold ultimatum. If she drinks the tea, he'll finally leave her alone. Our poor heroine doesn't hesitate, downing the bitter brew while he watches her with those piercing red eyes. He looms over her like a dark shadow, smirking as he asks if she's finally satisfied with her little performance. He struts away with his bird in tow, leaving Wanqing to fume about just how moody and toxic this man truly is. She knows he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, gentle on the outside but savage to anyone who knows his dark secrets. Our girl realizes she can't just play the victim anymore. If she wants to survive this story, she needs to get strong and she needs to do it fast. I have to become stronger, she vows, her eyes filled with a new determination. Later that night, she wanders the grounds wondering where the Demon King has disappeared to. She cautiously enters the hallway, but stops dead in her tracks when she spots something she definitely wasn't supposed to see. It's Zai Wuyan, and he's having a private little moonlit chat with the main heroine, Feng Yaoqing. The atmosphere looks way too cozy for Wanqing's liking. She hides behind a pillar, fuming that he's already flirting with the lead behind her back after she literally just risked her life for him. She watches as Feng Yaoqing plays the concerned damsel, telling him he shouldn't be out in the cold while he's injured. The heroine is totally buying his noble hero act, admiring him for triggering an old injury just to save someone. Wanqing can't believe the audacity, but then her system pings with a warning. She's been detected alone with the two of them. Our girl panics. Blocking side chicks was one thing, but dealing with the Demon King and the heroine at the same time is a nightmare. Zai Wuyan, having the senses of a literal god, immediately notices the little spy and flicks a leaf right at her forehead. The surprise makes her let out a massive sneeze, blowing her cover instantly. Feng Yaoqing demands to know who's there, and Wanqing has no choice but to step out with a nervous, awkward laugh. The heroine is confused, wondering why she's lurking in the dark. Wanqing quickly spins a lie, claiming she was just so worried about Brother Zai that she couldn't sleep. She plays it off by saying she's relieved he's in such good hands. Feng Yaoqing, being the dense heroine she is, takes this as a sign of sisterly support and decides to leave Zai Wuyan in Wanqing's care. Wait, what? Wanqing is left reeling as the heroine just hands over the most dangerous man in the world. Zai Wuyan turns to her with a smile that definitely doesn't reach his eyes. He leans in close, asking why she's suddenly so tense. He mocks her, asking if she was afraid he'd actually lose his temper and kill the precious heroine. He doesn't stop there, whispering that maybe she'd actually be happy if the heroine was out of the picture. He grabs her chin, forcing her to look at him as he questions her true motives. Wanqing's brain is short-circuiting at his twisted logic. In a desperate bid to deflect, she claims she was only worried that the male lead, Jai Feiken, would misunderstand if he saw them together. The mention of the male lead's name makes Zai Wuyan's expression turn absolutely glacial. He scoffs, mocking her for being so devoted to the person she likes, before finally letting her go. He turns his back on her and disappears into the night, leaving our poor girl gasping for air and clutching her neck. She realizes with horror that he's totally convinced she's head over heels for Jai Feiken, making this love triangle even more chaotic than the original book. She tries to map out the web of misunderstandings in her head, realizing that everyone thinks everyone else likes the wrong person. She screams internally, knowing she has to fix this mess before Zai Wuyan does something drastic. But as she tries to head back under the starlit sky, a suffocating, dark energy suddenly fills the air. Massive, shadowy hands erupt from the darkness, pinning her against the wall. She's paralyzed, unable to move as the shadows crawl over her. A cold chill freezes her blood, as a sinister voice whispers in her ear, "Do you know how long I've been waiting for you?" It's the painted skin ghost, and she's looking for revenge, planning to use Wanqing to drain the others. The ghost's sharp claws slice into her neck, and Wanqing can only cry out in pain as blood starts to flow. The spirit is obsessed, claiming that once it devours Wanqing's flesh and blood, no cultivator will be able to stop it. Wanqing struggles, terrified by the mention of being a sacrifice. She screams as the ghost drags her into the shadows. "Accept your fate," the ghost hisses. "Even if it wasn't me, you'd still end up a sacrifice to some other monster." Our girl falls into a bottomless pit of darkness, where dozens of blood-red hands reach up to pull her down into the abyss. Suddenly, a tragic memory flashes before her eyes. A mother weeping over her child, begging her never to become someone else's sacrifice. She sees a woman performing a forbidden blood ritual, sacrificing her own life to place a protection charm on a baby. Back in the present, Wanqing's eyes snap open, glowing with a terrifying primal red light as she lets out a soul-shattering scream. Our girl screams in agony as the cursed magic paper burns against her skin. The terrifying painted skin ghost looms over her with a wicked grin, ready to finish the job. She collapses to the floor, her strength completely drained. The monster mocks her, enjoying every second of her dying struggle. Our heroine looks up in pure terror as the end draws near. She shields her face, bracing for a killing blow that never comes. Suddenly, a powerful figure steps in, blocking the ghost's attack with ease. It's Shen Wanqing, and his expression is bone-chilling as he asks who gave this trash permission to touch what belongs to him. With a casual wave of his hand, he blasts the ghost away in a surge of dark energy. He stands over our heroine like a god of death, radiating pure authority. Realizing it's completely outmatched, the ghost quickly retreats into the shadows. Our girl weakly asks if he's going to go after it, but her eyes widen when she sees the blood on his robes. He looks down at her coldly, calling her a sacrifice and telling her to watch herself. She's stunned, realizing this body has a special constitution that makes her a target for every monster in existence. Is he saving her just to use her for himself later? She tries to read his expression, but his mind is a complete mystery. Since he already went through the trouble of saving her, she boldly asks for hand up. He just stares at her with a look of pure "Are you serious?" She internally fumes, calling him a bastard for his lack of chivalry. To her surprise, he actually reaches out. Before she can even react, he sweeps her up into a princess carry. He looks absolutely majestic under the moonlight, even if he is a terrifying demon lord. She winces as the movement jolts her injuries. He asks if it hurts, and when she admits it does, he tells her to let it hurt so she'll actually learn a lesson next time. Talk about a savage. However, she notices a strange, warm aura beginning to ease her pain. It seems our demon lord is secretly healing her while acting like a jerk. Under the stars, she softly thanks him for saving her twice now. He gives her a chilling smirk, wondering why she's so sure he won't be the one to kill her. She pragmatically points out that she can't beat him anyway, so she might as well be polite. He finds her entertainment value far more interesting than her deaths. Our girl realizes that if he truly fought the main leads, they wouldn't stand a chance. To stay alive, she decides to switch sides and protect his secret identity at all costs. Back at the inn, the main hero Shen Wanqing finally arrives, looking absolutely frantic. He's overwhelmed with guilt for leaving her unprotected. Our girl snarkily thinks that if he'd been any later, there wouldn't even be scraps left of her. The heroine Shen Wanqing is just as worried, checking on her immediately. Shen Wanqing bows low, owing a massive debt of gratitude to Shen Wanqing for saving his sister. Our girl feels a pang of guilt, seeing how much he truly cares for her. But there's no time for a reunion. Shen Wanqing points out that the painted skin ghost is still out there and they need to move. Suddenly, they realize another girl, Xian, has gone missing. The system screams an alert, the main plot is triggering, and things are about to get chaotic. Shen Wanqing uses his tracking artifact, and it glows brightly as it picks up a trail. He tells Shen Wanqing to stay behind and protect our heroine while they rush off to the rescue. Our girl tries to follow, but her legs give out immediately. She face-splints onto the floor, looking like a total mess. Shen Wanqing just mocks her, saying her brother is useless if he can't handle a wounded ghost. He kneels down beside her, and our girl realizes she needs his help to keep the plot from spiraling. She looks up at him with her most sparkling, manipulative smile. Big bro Zai tilde, she coos, preparing to charm the demon lord into joining the hunt. Our girl flashes her sweetest smile and asks Brother Zai if he's in the mood to exorcise some pesky demons. He gives her a look that says he's genuinely questioning if she has a loose screw in her head. She quickly tries to explain that the painted skin demon is full of tricks, and since the hero is exhausted, their side is basically losing. If they don't intervene, the female lead might actually get hurt, and we can't have that. Zai admits that sounds pretty pitiful, but then he just stares at her in soul-crushing silence. Our heroine is sweating bullets, wondering if she accidentally read a pirated version of the story since he's being so difficult. She puts on her best poor me face, hoping for a miracle. Zai finally smirks and asks if she really wants his help that badly. She looks up at him with those big, desperate eyes, praying for a yes. But he's a savage and demands that she beg him first. Without a second of hesitation, our girl throws her dignity out the window and starts begging like her life depends on it. Zai is honestly stunned by her complete lack of shame, wondering what kind of education her sect actually gave her. He lets out a heavy sigh, realizing he's stuck with a total chaos magnet. She clings to his sleeve to make sure he doesn't back out of his word. Deep down, she knows asking a great demon lord to kill demons is a huge reach. But if she doesn't act, the plot will derail and the secondary characters will end up in a toxic mess. Zai tells her to come over, looking like a total celestial snack under the moonlight. She rushes toward him, but realizes she's way too short to reach his flying sword. She gives him a nervous, awkward grin, hoping he won't just leave her behind. Since she can't jump that high, she shamelessly asks him to just pick a position and carry her. Before she can blink, she's let out a yelp as she's hoisted up. He sweeps her off her feet in a perfect princess carry that would make any reader swoon. They take to the skies on his blade, looking like a power couple while the battle rages below. Down on the ground, Jai Feiken is struggling against waves of dark energy. The situation is turning critical as shields begin to shatter under the pressure. Just as a demon claw is about to strike, Zai and our girl descend from the heavens. They land gracefully as the moon shines bright behind them. Our girl is still clinging to Zai's leg like a frightened koala, refusing to let go. The others are absolutely floored to see the mysterious young Master Zai appearing out of nowhere. Zai looks completely unbothered by the chaos he just interrupted. Our girl nervously asks if they've finally landed, her face flushing with pure embarrassment. She tries to play it off by claiming she's just a little bit afraid of heights, but Zai's judgmental stare is lethal. They walk toward the center of the clearing where the fight is wrapping up. The painted skin demon is pinned down, but it's far from over. The demon looks up and instantly recognizes Zai's true aura. Zai's eyes glow with a murderous intent that could freeze boiling water. The demon starts screaming about Zai's true identity, accusing the others of associating with a monster. Jai Feiken tells the demon to shut its mouth, but the secret is on the verge of leaking. Our girl panics, knowing that if Zai's demon identity is exposed now, everything is ruined. She realizes she has to do something drastic to silence the demon herself. She draws a blade, her expression turning dead serious. In a move that's totally savage, she cuts her own palm to use her blood for a ritual. She unleashes a massive burst of spiritual energy right at the demon's face. The demon shrieks in agony as the power overwhelms it. A violent explosion of purple light consumes the entire forest. Everything turns into a chaotic swirl of energy as people scream out for her. Our girl collapses, clutching her arm as the pain becomes unbearable. Suddenly, her consciousness starts to fragment as she realizes she's touching a power she doesn't understand. She's pulled into a vortex of spiritual memories that aren't her own. She tries to escape the purple fog, but she's being dragged deeper into the past. Images of a mysterious woman and a child in chains flash before her eyes. She looks at the young boy's shackled feet, wondering whose tragic memory she's just stumbled into. Images of a child in chains flash before her eyes. A girl is pulled into a heartbreaking memory of a boy being dragged away by his captors. She realizes she's witnessing a past that isn't hers, trembling as she watches the child suffer. The poor kid is forced to drink something vile while locked in a dungeon. He's bound by glowing red chains of spiritual energy, looking completely helpless. A cold-hearted cultivator looms over him, preparing for something sinister. Without a shred of mercy, they command the boy to jump into a literal furnace of fire. A girl's heart shatters as she watches the terror in his eyes. He's pushed, falling straight into the blazing heat. She screams for him to wait, reaching out into the void of the memory. But the boy is swallowed by a massive explosion of spiritual flames. The realization hits her like a truck. This child is someone she knows. It's Zai Wuxian. This is the trauma that turned him into a monster. Her consciousness starts to fracture from the sheer intensity of the vision. Purple energy swirls around her as the memory begins to dissolve. Suddenly, she's back in the real world, still gripping Zai Wuxian's hand. She gasps, wondering if she actually made it back to the present. She looks absolutely dazed, the weight of his past crushing her spirit. A familiar voice calls out her name, pulling her back to reality. It's Brother Jai, and he's clearly panicked by the state there. Zai Wuxian just shrugs it off, even though his hand is bleeding from her grip. Jai is freaking out because her spiritual power went completely out of control. He warns her that the blood-burning technique she used almost destroyed her physical body. It's a forbidden move that burns the user's very soul for power. Our girl's eyes flutter shut as she loses consciousness again. Zai Wuxian watches her, wondering why on earth she'd risk her life to hide his identity. Her eyes snap open later, filled with a new sense of purpose. She sees him standing there, looking like a total snack despite the chaos. The system chimes in with a hidden mission notification about Zai Wuxian's past. When she finally wakes up, she's tucked into bed, feeling like she's been hit by a carriage. Brother Jai is right by her side, playing the overprotective older brother role to a T. She internally roasts the system for being a heartless boss, demanding results while she's literally on her deathbed. Jai tells her the ghost is gone, but he's suspicious about her sudden power-up. He warns her that if the noble sex find out about her origins, she'll be hunted down. He begs her to promise she'll never use that dangerous power again. She gives him a weak nod, but her mind is elsewhere. As he turns to leave, she stops him, needing to know the truth about the nightmare she saw. She asks about the sealed demon lord trying to play it cool. Jai's face goes dark, insisting that getting along with such a monster is impossible. He explains that the demon lord is the child of a cultivator and a demon, a hybrid the world fears. The palace tried to raise him, but they were just inviting a disaster into their midst. Rumor has it that as a mere child, he slaughtered an entire branch of their sect. Jai tells her there's no place in any realm for someone that violent. He's convinced that if the boy isn't sealed away, the world is doomed. Later that night, our girl stares into the darkness, connecting the dots. She remembers the man in the memory and the way they treated that child. Those righteous cultivators were the ones who pushed him into that furnace and forced him to fight. She realizes the world's version of the story is nothing but convenient lies and propaganda. Zai Wuxian didn't choose to be a destroyer, he was forced to become a sacrifice for their blades. Suddenly, her divine beast bird pops in, acting like it wasn't worried sick. It tries to act all high and mighty while checking if she's actually alive. She ignores the bird's attitude and asks where Zai Wuxian disappeared to. Before the bird can answer, a shadow looms over her bed. It's Zai Wuxian and he's covered in fresh blood, looking absolutely savage. Zai Wuyan suddenly appears behind our girl, asking if she was looking for him. She tries to play it off as no big deal, but the man is literally dripping in blood. He casually drops that he's been busy killing people and demons, like he's just talking about the weather. Our poor heroine realizes she's poked a bear, and his glowing red eyes suggest that knowing too much is a one-way ticket to the afterlife. She desperately tries to take back the question, realizing she might be next on his hit list. But he just gives her that terrifyingly handsome look, leaving her completely stunned. He claims he was just giving the local demons a kind and close visit to make sure they don't talk too much. Our girl realizes this demon lord is basically a one-man wrecking crew. But then she notices he's actually hurt and wonders who could possibly injure a monster like him. Suddenly, it clicks. She might have been the one to wound him when her soul was out of her body. Feeling a surge of guilt, she grabs his hand to check the bandage. Of course, that's exactly when the resident rival walks in and catches them in a total K-drama moment. Our girl panics and pulls away, while the other girl looks like she's about to explode from jealousy. The rival storms off and Shen Wanqing chases after her, only to be told they should compete fairly. Our girl is like, wait, I don't even like the main lead. But the rival thinks she's talking about Zai Wuyan and warns her to give up. She tells our heroine that no matter how much she clings to the demon lord, a girl like her will never win his heart. Shen Wanqing is left standing there, wondering if they're even speaking the same language. She gets a serious case of deja vu, realizing she's trapped in a classic villainous trope. Her brother Jai Feiken finds her zoning out and calls her an idiot. At dinner, he's being super sweet, piling her plate with food because he thinks she's gotten thin. Our girl knows she's actually been stress eating and gaining weight, but she's not about to turn down a free meal. They're having a wholesome moment, but little do they know, Zai Wuyan is watching from the shadows like a jealous stalker. He looks absolutely livid seeing them so close, literally crushing the railing with his bare hand. Later that night, our girl is living her best life, reading and eating until she passes out. But the peace doesn't last long because the demon lord decides to pull a Phantom of the Opera and sneak into her room. He finds her asleep with a book on her face and, being the ultimate critic, decides it's a crappy book. He watches her sleep, and when she starts complaining about the heat in her dreams, she ends up leaning right against him. She mumbles about how comfy he is, which leaves our scary demon lord looking completely flustered. Even though he says it's an annoying night, he uses his powers to cool her down so she can sleep better. He can't seem to take his eyes off her peaceful face, probably wondering how she can be this carefree. He spends the whole night just sitting there, acting like a bodyguard for his favorite little troublemaker. Staring at the moon, he starts spiraling into a tragic backstory montage. He remembers the cold chains of the dungeon where the world tried to break his spirit. He was the ultimate outcast, rejected by the righteous and the villains alike while the world burned around him. With no place to call home, he decided if the world wouldn't give him a seat at the table, he'd just flip the whole thing over. He became a solitary tyrant, feared by everyone, carving out a lonely peace through sheer terror. He sat on his dark throne for years, feeling more dead than alive in his own palace. But his edgy internal monologue is suddenly interrupted by a very undignified sneeze. Our girl is literally using the most feared man in the realms as a giant human plushie. Instead of vaporizing her, he actually smiles, looking like a man who's finally found a reason to enjoy the view. He thinks to himself that having someone sleep so trustingly beside him almost makes him feel like a normal person again. He watches over her until the break of dawn, looking way too handsome for a guy who just pulled an all-nighter. Morning arrives with the birds chirping and the flowers blooming in the garden. Wanqing wakes up feeling like she had the best sleep of her entire life. She stretches out, blissfully unaware of just how scandalous her sleeping arrangement was, until she opens her eyes and sees the Demon King's face way too close for comfort. Our girl's soul nearly leaves her body when she realizes she spent the night using an ancient ancestor as a pillow. She panics and starts poking him to see if he's even alive or if she's just committed a high-tier sin. Suddenly, those glowing red eyes snap open, catching her red-handed in the middle of her poke test. She scrambles back so fast, she nearly falls off the bed in a total Chibai-style meltdown. He just sits there looking bored and judgy, wondering what's wrong with this chaotic girl. She tries to play it cool, awkwardly telling him to cover up so he doesn't catch a cold or a crick in his neck. He honestly thinks she's even less normal than he is, which is saying a lot for a demon. Desperate to escape the awkwardness, she asks him to turn around so she can change into some actual clothes. He just closes his eyes with a smug grin, claiming he won't see a thing if he keeps them shut. But the chaos isn't over because Brother Jai is already at the door and ready to barge right in. Wanqing goes into full survival mode, looking like she's about to have a heart attack on the spot. She dives toward the Demon King and shoves him behind the bed curtains just as the door swings open. Jai enters, acting all casual and asking her how she slept last night. Our girl puts on her best nothing suspicious here face while sweating bullets behind her fake smile. She forces a grin, praying the hidden king doesn't decide to make a scene. Meanwhile, behind the curtain, the Demon King is looking absolutely murderous about being treated like a secret mistress. Wanqing tries to keep her eyes from twitching as she makes small talk to distract her visitor. Jai delivers the news that they are finally setting out tonight now that her injuries aren't serious anymore. She's so relieved she could cry, giving him a bright smile and promising to pack right away. As soon as Jai turns his back to go inform the others, her polite girl act vanishes. She lets out a massive sigh of relief, thinking the ultimate danger has finally passed. She cautiously peels back the curtain to release her reluctant prisoner, but her heart stops when she sees him casually reading her secret, super embarrassing novel. She's mortified as he scans the pages with a look of pure mischief in his eyes. To make matters worse, he starts reading the spicy master-disciple scenes out loud with zero shame. She lunges for the book, but he just holds it high out of reach like the absolute menace he is. Suddenly, the door flies open again as Yeoking bursts in looking for the young master. They both freeze like deer in headlights, caught in the most compromising position imaginable. It's a total disaster and Wanqing's reputation is hanging by a single thread. Before they're spotted, the Demon King grabs her and pulls her close. He snaps his fingers, using his magic to drop the curtains and hide them both in the shadows. Yeoking walks into what looks like an empty room, totally confused as to where everyone went. Wanqing is internally screaming, knowing if they are found now, she'll never be able to clear her name. He holds her tight against his chest, making her heart race for all the wrong and maybe some right reasons. Yeoking checks the bed, but it looks completely empty to her eyes. She figures Wanqing must have stepped out and leaves the room to search elsewhere. It turns out he used a high-level illusion to make them invisible, and he's clearly enjoying how flustered she is. Once the coast is clear, they reappear and she finally catches her breath. He leans in close, asking exactly how she plans to thank him for saving her skin. Our girl is officially done with his games, giving him the most unimpressed look ever. She finally explodes, yelling at him for always taking advantage of the situation and her sanity. Our team is finally on the move after a slight delay involving a nasty skin demon that tried to ruin the schedule. As night falls, the carriage rolls through the silent forest, but the vibes are immediately rancid as the smell of fresh blood hits the air. Suddenly, a ghostly procession in funeral red emerges from the shadows. Inside the carriage, our girl stays quiet while the guys try to figure out who would hold a wedding at this ungodly hour. Peeking out, she sees the creepy red robes and feels a chill down her spine. The heroes demand to know what's going on, only to be told to mind their own business. But the desperate parents of the bride break down, begging for someone to save their daughter. This isn't a wedding at all, it's a human sacrifice for a local demon. Apparently 3 years ago, a drought hit the village and a fake mountain god appeared to save them. But the price for his blessings was steep, one beautiful girl every single month. The village chief is totally fine with it since he's getting rich and doesn't have any daughters to lose. The hero vows to take this demon down, but they need a way to lure it out. The plan uses a sacrifice as bait. Since the other girl is unconscious, all eyes land on our poor heroine. She sighs and agrees to be the bait, but she's got one condition. If things go south, they better kill the village chief first. The guys are definitely impressed by her savage logic. As the stars come out, the preparation for the ritual begins. Back at the village house, our girl stares into the mirror, preparing for her role. She lays out the elaborate wedding robes, looking every bit the doomed bride. The mother of the saved girl brings in food, acting like she's eternally grateful. She even helps brush our girl's hair, playing the part of a caring elder. Our heroine puts on the red robes herself, keeping her guard up. But when the woman offers a cup of warm tea to soothe her, our girl takes a sip. Left alone in the quiet rooms, she suddenly realizes something is very wrong. A wave of dizziness hits her as she clutches her throat. The village chief was missing from the entire commotion, which makes no sense for such a big ritual. Then it clicks, they didn't swap her out to save her, they intend for her to be the real sacrifice. She realizes she can't trust anyone here and decides to play along until she can regroup with her team. The creepy procession starts up again, moving deep into the bamboo forest. As they reach the destination, the air turns bone-chillingly cold. She steps out of the sedan, standing before the dark and ominous shrine. The old woman tells her to go in alone, but our girl stops her. With a sweet fake smile, she asks for a goodbye hug. But as they embrace, she secretly slaps a talisman onto the woman's back. Now it's time to see what kind of god is watching from above. Something is seriously wrong here because despite all these dead cultivators, the villagers didn't say a single word. Our girl keeps her guard up, clutching a needle to stay sharp. She remembers the old woman telling her to kneel and wait, realizing she's walked straight into a trap. Putting on her best poker face, she asks if the ritual can finally begin. Outside, the trashy villagers are already celebrating, certain the mountain god will reward them for bringing more fools to their deaths. They're convinced our girl is helpless since they drugged the group's drinks that morning to suppress their powers. Suddenly, a scream for help echoes through the air, catching her off guard. She panics for a second, wondering if they found her hidden talisman. It's clear now, these villagers have been luring cultivators here for ages just to feed a demon. She needs to regroup with Jai Feiken and Zai Wuyan immediately to handle this mess. But the doors won't budge, locked tight by a thick, suffocating demonic. Before she can react, a creepy shadow starts creeping up behind her. The demon whispers in her ear, mocking her for being a smart girl who got caught anyway. Our heroine is absolutely disgusted as this monster starts getting way too touchy-feely. She realizes her teammates are nowhere to be found, leaving her alone with this creep. Fine then, if they're not coming, she'll just have to save herself. But then a familiar voice cuts through the tension, complaining that her wedding robe is totally ugly. Zai Wuyan finally shows up, grabbing the demon's hand before it can do any more damage. With a flash of power, he forces the creature to back off. He admits he knew about the trap from the very beginning. The Savage King just wanted to see exactly how stupid these villagers could actually be. Naturally, these two start bickering over who noticed the trap first while the demon stands there ignored. The demon is losing its mind, feeling completely disrespected by their casual conversation. It launches a massive attack, but our girl is ready to dodge. Zai Wuyan steps in, moving with effortless grace to shield her. In the middle of a life-or-death battle, he has the audacity to ask if she's gained weight. He sweeps her off her feet literally, though his commentary is 0 out of 10. Our girl is fuming, telling him that now is definitely not the time for his petty critiques. The demon laughs, calling them overconfident fools for trying to play the hero. But Zai Wuyan realizes the villagers haven't been sacrificing innocents. They've been serving up high-level cultivators as snacks. The demon decides it's time to end this and goes all out. But Zai Wuyan isn't playing around anymore, summoning a terrifying crackle of lightning. The demon's domain shatters into a million pieces under his overwhelming power. A pillar of divine light strikes down, proving that this mountain god is nothing but a bug. He stands there looking like an absolute snack while the demon is left trembling. Realizing it's outmatched, the demon turns into a purple blur and tries to make a run for it. It heads straight back toward the village, probably looking for a quick meal to recharge. Our girl realizes the villagers are in trouble, but Zai Wuyan doesn't seem bothered at all. They follow the trail back, only to find a scene of total carnage. Every single one of those backstabbing villagers has been slaughtered. Zai Wuyan casually admits he's the one who ended them because he absolutely hates being used. Our girl gives a quick thanks, and the big bad demon king actually thinks she looks like a cute little bunny. As they walk through the woods, the atmosphere is heavy with the scent of blood. Suddenly, the old hag from before crawls out of the bushes, begging the heroine to save her. It's the same woman who drugged them, and she's looking like a pathetic mess. She points a shaking finger at Zai Wuyan, claiming he's a murderer working with the demon. Our girl is almost impressed, thinking this woman is a better actress than she is. The hag sees Jai Feiken approaching and tries to play the victim one last time. But our heroine isn't falling for it, and she's done playing nice. With a savage swing, she slashes the old woman right in front of everyone. The hag collapses, her lies finally silenced by cold, hard steel. Wiping a splash of blood from her cheek, our girl looks at the horrified onlookers and reminds them she doesn't like being used either. The night settles into a chilling silence as the truth finally comes to light.